everybody. Welcome to the podcast, the Project Investigation Collaboration, brought to you by the Veritas Project. And as always, we are here with our gracious host and founder of the Veritas Project, Robert Curtis.
Hello.
And I'm lead investigator. I forgot who I was for a second.
Yeah.
I'm lead investigator Todd Boyer. And welcome to the podcast, everybody on YouTube and everybody on TikTok.
Yay.
So we got a bunch of new people on TikTok today. And today's topic will actually be the Book of Oberon, which is
There it is.
a 16th century magic book.
I can't.
It's supposed to be the true magic book out there. But we always cover local news first. Bob and I almost got taken out by tornadoes last night.
Tornado came
It was
right
rough.
through our neighborhood last night.
I think it messed up the hub for Amazon because they canceled my routes for the weekend and paid me.
Oh, nice.
So, and then it went through Arnold, which is like 5 miles south of me. And the weather was absolutely nasty last night. It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
If you go down to Arnold, all the big billboard signs, like for like Walmart and Kohl's, and they're snapped off, folded in half, you name it. It was absolutely brutal here with the high winds yesterday. In other news, Bob got rid of the car and got him a truck.
Yeah, I bought a Nissan Frontier instead of my Lexus. It was driving me crazy. So I love the car, but I need a 4-wheel drive.
Yep.
I gotta have a truck to do fun camping stuff. So now we're back in the truck business.
Right. So today I went to the gym. That's why I went to Arnold. But there was no power down there.
Nice.
So I came back up to South County and I went and played some disc golf and I went by the mall and got this shirt on clearance for $12.
Nice.
So
What is
I was
it?
happy. It's just a Puma Hoops shirt, but it's a nice sleeveless hoodie.
Nice.
Very comfortable. And I love the color. That's my favorite color. That's my favorite color, blue, guys. So, the Book of Oberon.
Yeah.
So, the Book of Oberon, we're going to go off the top of our brains here, but then we'll get into the facts we have down here, is actually a 16th century magic book that is currently being held in
The Shakespearean Library.
in Washington, D.C. Now, the book was believed, now I saw two different things when I was doing our research on this. It's believed to be from either like 1550 to 1573.
Right.
Or 1570 to 1585. Then the reason why they believe it is from that time period is because of the handwriting and the diction.
Yeah.
So the word choices made in the book play a role in dating it.
Right.
So, and it is a real magic book, like supposed to be a legitimate magic book. It has passed through many people over the years, and
It's a grimoire.
Yep.
But it's a manuscript, like,
Right.
so it's handwritten. The original one, not obviously not every copy of it.
Right. Now, the way they got this book printed, you want to go ahead and tell that?
Yeah, they actually had to hire a photographer, a legit professional photographer, because they wouldn't let anybody just handle it. Had to go in there every day and set the book up on its little planchette and take a picture of each individual page. And it's a lot of pages.
It's a lot of pages, like 500 and something pages.
See how thick that is?
It's thick.
Some dude had to take a picture of every single page, and then they sent it to be edited. They sent it to the authors, and they had to translate it and go through all the process of sorting it and editing it, and then they redrew every one of the
sigils and all the pictures and everything
to make
now
them to a standard.
There are even things in there that say that they couldn't decipher like the text, or they couldn't translate that text.
Yeah.
There are parts in the book that actually say that. Yeah. Like it'll be in little, parentheses, whatever.
It's a allegorical kind of thing, and most grimoires are all allegorical. And they're very hard to decipher because they weren't intended to be read by anyone. They were for the people in that order, or for like the apprentice, or for the apprentice took notes and then made it for the master. But they weren't intended to be in mass circulation. And at that time, when these books were written, they didn't want it to get out to the Inquisition that they were making magical books, you
Right.
know. So a lot of they're talking about angels and they're talking about devotionals and things like that. But what they mean is spells and conjuring.
So they did reproduce this book. You can find this book on Amazon. Bob actually has, though, a numbered copy.
Right, the first edition.
One of the first editions.
There's my number.
Yep.
So they're legit first edition.
So, sorry, I forgot the word. I learned a vocabulary word today and totally forgot it.
Yeah.
When words are written in red.
The Rubicon.
Rubicon, thank you.
Yeah.
So, I
Ask
should know
me,
that.
man.
Jeep.
I know all the stuff.
Yeah. So, there are highlighted words in there in red that are the important words.
Visual aids.
More visual aids, and for some reason they're spread throughout the book, which is kind of wild because there's literally like 5 on that line, 2 on that line, 5 on that line. It's kind of wild because it's not like a whole sentence is Rubicon, but just every few words there's one that's Rubicon.
Yeah.
So let's get on to the info that we pulled off the internets.
Yeah.
And so the origins of the Book of Oberon, it's a 16th century English grimoire, and it was compiled from various magical manuscripts of the time. The book contains texts in Latin, English, and other languages. It draws from medieval and Renaissance esoteric traditions and was likely created by an anonymous practitioner of magic. Well, obviously it was created by multiple anonymous practitioners of magic because they put the whole thing together in multiple languages. That person just said, hey, I really dig these spells. I'm going to do it. And supposedly, these spells work.
Right, and that's the whole idea.
So
was that whoever made this book took spells from other grimoires and was like, that don't work, throw it in the trash.
Right.
That don't work, throw it in the trash.
Right.
And then this is the concise, like, what do you call it? Like the cliff notes of all of that magical
all these
text.
other magical books.
Right.
Yeah. So who is Oberon? Well, Oberon is the fairy king in medieval folklore. His character appears in Juan Bardeau in 13th century French romance. Shakespeare popularized Oberon further in Midsummer's Night Dream. And in the Grimoire, the Oberon depicts as a powerful magic being, and his presence connects the book to both literary and occult traditions. There is also spells in there to summon Oberon that are in that book. So if you're looking to call Oberon,
That's why it's called that.
Yeah.
Because its official name is the German manuscript.
Yeah.
In the Shakespeare library. So it's not listed as the Book of Oberon. It's just called the German manuscript.
Right. So the contents. The grimoire contains spells, prayers, and magical instructions. It includes invocation, angels and demon spirits. There's instruction of summoning Oberon himself. There's charms for healing, protection, love, and some parts resemble Solomonic magic, linking it to early traditions. So, like Solomon, there's. So if you go through here, like I said, it's angels, demons, fae. There's a little of everything in this book, and that's what kind of I like about it is it has everything. It covers everything. And if you look at the sigils, the sigils cover everything. You'll see like more, Catholic religious symbology, and then you'll see like older, like Nordic even some of it symbology in there. So it's all over the board when it comes to what's actually in this book. And like I said, you can grab it on Amazon for $80, but it's not a numbered copy like Bob has. So,
and from what I've seen, the ones that they sell on Amazon are missing a lot of the illustrations.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just noticed it the other day. I pulled it up to check.
I watched a review on YouTube of the Amazon copy, and there was hardly any Rubicon in it at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, Taco asks, do you think the spells will only work in the original dialogue? That's a rabbit hole, because if you believe something fully enough, your brain doesn't know the difference between belief and imagination. So what happens is when you believe something fully enough in your brain, that the universe has to catch up to your brain because your brain believes it to the fullest.
Right.
So it has to make your reality that way.
Bucklad said in his magic course, which is like the deep everything, all of Wicca is based on Bucklad's interpretation of magic. And he says that the reason why a lot of Catholic priests and a lot of magic practitioners use like Latin, or they'll use like Enochian language, is because it puts you in that ceremonial mindset. So like you speak, spells in your regular voice, it may work or may not, because you don't have that intention.
Right.
But when you're in your ritual space and you're speaking in Latin, or you're speaking in Enochian, or you're speaking in anything, Hebrew even, your mind is in that where I have the desire to make this happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the difference.
Yep. So in the book, it contains alphabets used for occult and occult writing. The symbols were meant to encode magical knowledge, and some of them resembles alchemical and Kabbalistic script.
Yeah.
They were used to communicate with spirits or hide secrets. Many of these symbols appear in other grimoires of the period, which we said it's a conglomeration of all these other grimoires of the period.
They don't tell you. It's the Kybalion, in case you want to know.
So there's a lot of cool sigils in there that say, oh, if you want this, copy this sigil and carry it with you. There's a lot of those in there.
Right.
So
it's full of stuff like that. It tells you, and the thing that I love about this book, as opposed to other grimoires and even modern grimoires, is that this one says, here's the ritual, here's what you need to do it, here's the sigil, here's the talisman, go have fun. Right.
It lays it out for you.
It lays out everything. It's like a how-to manual for doing magic.
Right.
It is. It's so refreshing to not have all of this hither-dither, rotate your wand counter circle, all this nonsense. It's just like, here's what you do, here's what you do, here's what you do, boom,
right.
It's done.
I think we read the other last week. We read one of the spells, and it was do this, this magical knight will appear.
Yeah.
Don't look him in the eyes, just ignore him.
Right.
He'll leave. Half hour later, another one will show up. And it went on to keep doing this until the fourth one shows up, and then let him know what you want.
Right.
And he'll be able to give it to you. It was it literally breaks it down like that. It's
even
crazy.
As much as to tell you how that knight was dressed.
Yeah.
And what his horse would look like.
Yep.
That's how, you see this guy.
Very detailed.
Wearing a red sash, riding a brown horse. He's not your dude.
Yep.
You just let him go.
So there's, like we said earlier, there's a lot of, influence through religion. And so it heavily incorporates Christian prayer and Psalms. And then many of the rituals call upon angels like Michael and Raphael.
Yeah.
And some of the spells mix Catholic rites with folk magic, and it reflects the Renaissance belief in white magic versus black magic, and the Christian framework made it more acceptable than purely demonic text. And if you go back through, like the Bible and look at some of the rituals that take place, especially in the Catholic Church, they're very specific. Like a robe has to have this many this many threads in it, and it has to have this many colored threads in it of this color. And so if you actually go back, that older Catholic religion stuff actually is that ritualistic, the same way this Book of Oberon is. So it's very, very, similar,
right?
Believe it or not. So now the Book of Oberon shares content with the Key of Solomon, and it has similarities with the Sworn Book of Honorius. And some elements resemble the Heptameron, a famous magical text. Well, obviously because it came from everywhere.
Right.
So, it even has alchemy in there.
Yeah.
It's got everything. And once again, it goes back to this was compiled from multiple texts.
Right.
So it's got a bit of everything. So you have to forgive us sometimes when we do our research and we have ChatGPT pull like cliff notes for us, that it repeats some of the cliff notes. Yeah. So as we go through these cliff notes here, talking to you guys, we know a ton about it, but we like to be organized.
Yeah.
So
sometimes because we're here in front of everybody, we kind of misspeak a thing, and then people will call us out in the comments and be like, "Well, that's not what they're saying." Like, well, I know it doesn't say that, but I at that moment, my mouth said.
We had one that absolutely blew up like that. You misspoke like one word, and people went bat crap crazy.
Right. And I'm like, I know that I said the wrong thing, but in that moment...
And you repeated that like 10 times. Yeah. Yes, I know, I misspoke. Yes, I know, I misspoke.
Right. and they're beating me up over it.
Right. So also, you also have astrology in there.
Right.
You know, so not only with the spirits and demons, but you got all the planetary influences. That provides detailed methods for summoning, commanding the spirits and the angels and the demons. And, you know, that comes from other sources like the Lemegaton. Lemegaton.
There you go.
Lemegaton. Gotta love these big names that get thrown at us every week. So, like we said, it includes alchemical recipes, magical potions, herbal remedies.
Right.
Right. It teaches you how to make protective charms. You know, formulas for that, formulas for amulets. There's alchemical symbols in the book and its illustrations, and there's a fusion of alchemy and magic, and that was real common in the Renaissance grimoires. Yeah. So it all took place in that time period, and it's crazy how this has lasted since, you know, the mid 1500s in the state that it's in.
Yeah.
You know,
that someone thought it was important enough.
Right. To keep it.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, how many books were lost over the years.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, and astrology, Robin, I know you'll like this. Astrology plays a key role in the book, right? Many of the spells require specific planetary alignments. Zodiac signs influence the timing of the rituals. Some spirits are linked to celestial bodies, and the Renaissance believed in the cosmic harmony influenced its astrology. So,
right.
You know, so originally, like Bob said, the book was a handwritten manuscript, you know, picture, quill and pen, you know, quill and ink. Somebody got down to it. And the pictures are so elaborate, and I know Bob will add those in on Monday.
Yeah.
You know, he'll add some of them in. And the handwriting varies. So there was not just one person writing this. So there was multiple people adding to the book as it went along, and it could have been one of those situations where somebody owned the book and then they passed it on to somebody else and said, and somebody else said, hey, I know this spell, and they wrote in the book, and that's how the book changed, grew
because it didn't work.
Yeah,
and then they just cut that part out and then put the new one in that changed it. Because a lot of times with these spells, if you're calling on planetary influence, right, and then the person who wrote it knew that you had to do it at a certain time and a certain, you know, celestial alignment to make this ritual work, but they didn't write that in there. So then when the other person came along, they were like, hey, all this is bunk. You have to do this in August during the blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why it has the Rubicon in there, because people added to it, and they're like, hey, that does not work. You have to do it when it's a full moon, and then use moon water and all this other stuff, you know.
Well, also, there's in the original text, there's pages that have been used over and over, and you can see how the certain pages have been worn because they used them repeatedly. So in the original. Now, it's more likely, it says here, historical context and use. It's likely to be used by cunning folk or scholars of the occult. Such books were often kept secret due to religious persecutions. The period saw a rise in both witch trials and magical study. The book's Christian elements may have helped avoid accusations of heresy, and its mix of folk magic and scholarly knowledge reflects its era. And if you look at that, there's like stuff with knights, you know, and like all the symbols. It's such a great. I'm actually getting my next 2 tattoos are coming from the book. I'm getting 2 of the sigils that they recommend you carry with you.
Right.
You look for the sigils.
Yeah, I was gonna look for the picture. There he is. Look at that.
A picture of a knight being shown there. I'm sure Bob will pop that up on the
There it is.
So Bob will pop that up, I'm sure, on when he edits. He'll grab a better picture. Now, once again, you know, we're kind of surprised at how this thing has survived, and it was kept in private collections for centuries.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to tell me any of the owners, but you watched a documentary on it a while back. And now, who was one of the owners that they specifically stated?
Oh, it was Harry Houdini had it at one point. He purchased a bunch of original... He was a big Shakespeare fan. And he purchased a bunch of original handwritten Shakespeare, not like manuscripts, but like his notes and things like that. And the Book of the Oberon was in there. And he had it in his collection until his, family decided to sell it off to make some money. and then it passed into other collectors who knew what it was.
Right.
They bought it at an auction, and then when they went to put it into Congress, the Library of Congress, they found that it was missing a lot of the sigils in it, that someone had removed all the pages with sigils in it. And when they were going through all of Houdini's stuff to catalog it, they found a envelope that had all of the sigils in it. And the two hadn't been together
in years.
Yeah, since Shakespeare owned it. Like the sigils hadn't been with the book. So they put the book back together, and then this is the copy. Going forward, this is the copy that has all of the sigils in it.
Right. Now,
so it's very important.
It is actually looked upon today as a recognizable, valuable, historic document.
Yeah.
And that is why it is in the library, the Shakespearean Library in Washington, D.C.
That's why it's in my library.
And it's in Bob's library, which is eventually going to go on the real.
Right.
We're not going to have the Linen Library anymore. Eventually, we're going to have Bob's real library.
Yeah. I'll put
once we change studios.
Right next to Bucklad's Manual for Magic.
There you go. So the book was transcribed and published in 2015 by Joseph H. Peterson, and other scholars worked on the modern edition. The published version includes translations and commentary, and it allows modern readers to study Renaissance magic firsthand, and it has become a key resource of occult historians. And that's the funny thing to me, is there are so many people out there that are into magic and are into witchcraft and are into spells and things like that. But this is not a well-known book. This is not something that's out there. But this is the book.
Right.
Like, it's like a bunch of Christians not knowing what the Bible is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Bible of magic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's where it all comes from. So the Book of Oberon has inspired modern occult practitioners, and many of the spells are studied and adapted for contemporary use. And it has influences in modern ceremonial magic traditions. And the book is often cited in discussions of historical witchcraft. It continues to be a subject of fascination in esoteric circles.
Yeah.
That would be us.
Yeah.
That'd be all of us here.
Us.
You guys out there on YouTube and you guys down here on TikTok. All you paranormal and weird and strange lovers, that's all us. So you can get it, like I said, on Amazon. It's not quite as good. I know this podcast was a little bit short, but we could talk a little more about it. I mean, why don't you grab it, Bob? Now let's take a look at some of the sigils. And so some of the things that are in here, and it is actually from the very back. We'll go past the table of contents here, and it has a good table of contents. So if you want to look up specific names, like if you want to look up something with lavender or lead plate, or it has specific pages for specific words you can look up.
Everything.
Everything talks about Egypt on such and such pages. There's all kinds of everything you want in here, and the actual book goes out to. They're given all the credits to everyone. There's like literally pages and pages of credits to people who helped work on the book. But the book itself is actually 555 pages. Convenient.
Yeah.
Nice round number like that.
Yeah, if anybody is a fan of Aleister Crowley, that makes sense to you.
When he shall depart, say thus, depart in peace unto a place prepared for thee, and the peace of God be between thee and me, and all other creatures of God. And when I shall call thee again, I will call thee in the name of the Father, and so rest in peace. So that is one of the things. That is actually the spirit of Tobias. You can summon the spirit of Tobias, and that's what you say when he leaves. So there's so many different things in here. I'm gonna try to find the sigils page because I really like that. And I need to take a picture of the sigil before I go.
The talismans are really cool too.
Yeah, I mean they are very, 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 very detailed. Like I'll show you guys down here, and then I'll show you guys up here. Right? Oh, it's this page. Sorry, but yeah, it's super, super wild. Like everything, that's Conjuration of Baron. I mean, there's tons of conjuration spells. Spirit of the North, who is called King Egan. It is proven. It just, just the amount of information in here. It is a book to really go through at your leisure and really dig deep in there. If you can find a first run, they're hard to come by, and they usually run in the $700 range. But Bob got lucky, and but like Bob said, it doesn't have all the new book doesn't have all the goodness in it.
Yeah.
So, but you can get it if you're looking for it, just to have a good read. And if you're into magic and stuff, get it. It literally is the Bible of magic. I mean, it's where all magic comes from. Like a lot of theories come from here. So, but thank you guys for joining us again on the podcast.
Yeah.
We appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget, if you would like to become a member on Patreon, at the $5 membership, you guys get a postcard. In fact, here's a postcard right here. This is this month's postcard. Greetings from the Fringe. With a leprechaun and a Loch Ness monster. This way, Todd. Thank you. Ooh, shoulder's hurting. Yeah. So actually, Angie's sister became a Patreon member for us.
Yay.
So we're up to what, 6 now? I think 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I think we're 6. I think we're at 6. So become a Patreon member. Get those postcards. We'll send them out every month. Kim, did you get both of your postcards? I'll wait for her to reply and keep going. If you guys want the merch, get the merch. Go to Teespring. Go to if you're down here on TikTok, if you go to the Real Veritas Project on YouTube, there's a link to our Teespring there. It's hard to find if you go directly to Teespring and go to the Veritas Project. It's a pain in the booty.
Search on there.
So, but if you go through YouTube and get it that way, you can get shirts and cups and
hats,
hoodies and hats and stickers and you name it.
Bags.
You didn't get your second card yet?
Oh, man.
Which one are you missing? Did you get February or March? Yep, $5 Patreon member. Postcard each month. That's right, Robin.
Yep.
We want your stories. If you have had an experience, whether it be paranormal or cryptid or UFO or just really freaking weird that you don't know what the hell happened, send it to us.
Yep.
We will sit down, we'll go through the story, and we'll talk about it. We'll make a whole podcast out of your story.
Yeah.
We have done it in the past.
We'll do a deep dive into it and find some history on it, and we'll give you more insights into your thing. You know, I've had people tell me stories too. They're like, well, I saw this and this and this, and I did a little research on it and found out that there was a meteor that night.
Really?
And it wasn't a UFO. It was actually a reflection of a meteor. So
do I need to bust out my joke?
Yeah.
You know how you can tell the difference between rocks from space and rocks from Earth? You lick them. If they're from space, they're a little meteor. Bad dad jokes. We got them. I got them right here.
Corny jokes.
Yep, the corny dad jokes. Explain how a cow is gutted and no blood anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one that's hard to explain. Carterization, probably.
Or it was abducted into the ship and
done in the ship and then dropped off.
Dumped it back.
Yep, that's a possibility. So, also, follow Bob on all his social medias. RS Curtis on everything, and the Real Veritas Project, and I'm Investigator Todd on everything. If you want those email addresses, they're the Real Veritas Project at gmail.com, and I'm investigator.todd.paranormal@gmail.com. We also have our third member, Kay. She's working on trying to get us some investigations set up. Once we do get some investigations set up, we will go live right here on TikTok during the investigations. The Lemp Mansion is fully booked out.
Yeah.
Did you talk to, what's his name?
I haven't had a chance yet.
So yeah, the Lemp Mansion is fully booked out. So if you did not make it to get the Lemp Mansion, it's too late. We are booked out, and we're 5 months in advance. We're booked full. We're booked out.
You can still watch it on the TikTok.
Super exciting. Yep, you can watch this live on TikTok that night. We'll be going live during that whole investigation.
That's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm super psyched.
Yep, we got the whole place to ourselves. So that's already booked up. And hopefully next year we'll have enough followers that we'll have to get a bigger place. We'll have to find somewhere to investigate. You know, we'll talk to one of these big places and everybody get together and do a bigger place. So, let's see. Teespring we talked about. We talked about
the Patreon.
Also, we do have a a Discord.
Oh, yeah.
We do have a Discord.
Yep, I started a Discord channel for everybody to go and chat. You can chat about your paranormal stuff.
Yep. Shoot us a message or an email, and we'll get you on the Discord channel.
Yeah.
And you can come in and drop some questions, or you can chit chat with other people. You talk with Bob, myself, or Kay, or Angie. We'll all be there. And Angie's the one that makes all these pictures and logos. That's Bob's wife. She's a graphic designer.
Yep.
We don't give her enough credit. She does an amazing job on these.
She makes all the stuff.
She makes all the stuffs. So, and I was talking. So one of our followers actually works in Kimswick, and we're going to see what we can do about getting us down there on Witches Night Out.
Ooh, all right.
So that would be awesome if we can get down there on Witches Night Out before, like a week before Halloween or whatever, and that would be amazing. So thank you, everybody. Did that cover everything? I think I covered everything. So for the TikTok, thank you for all the likes, taps, comments, and the shares, any coins given. We will actually hang out here for a few minutes after we close the live up here on YouTube. If you're on YouTube up here, subscribe, ring that bell, comment, hit the like.
Yeah.
Share us out to anybody that you think would enjoy it. We are getting real close to being an official... we're real close to being official YouTubers.
Yep.
Like, not just hobby YouTubers. We're real close to being monetized.
We need 300 watch hours.
Yep, 300 watch hours a month. And we can open super chats. So that's the first step in becoming real live YouTubers.
Yeah.
So that's our first step on our way to that silver play button. Well, that thing, could you imagine that once we get the new studio, we hang your logo that Angie got you on the back wall with our silver play button below it?
That'd be nice.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
How awesome would that be, guys? So thank you guys all for the support. Thank you for watching, guys. Remember,
stay curious
and find the truth, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.